our community, we have tagged OPM as our people's money because group economics is so important. I really I see a lot of people buying single family homes or maybe a duplex or a triplex or whatever. But if we were to leverage our people's money and put our money collectively together, we could actually buy bigger acquisitions.
Welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Essentials podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Brandon and Pravada.
Yes, sir. And it's Tevin Facey. And today we have a special guest, another special guest, right? Not only just a special guest, we have the legacy builder in the building.
Yes, she's here.
Yes. Nia, how you doing today?
I'm amazing. I'm absolutely amazing. I've been so excited about this pod because we've been talking about real estate and everything. So this is the one.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
And you drove here, right?
I don't drive.
Oh, my bad.
That was
My bad.
Right off rip.
My bad.
No problem.
You were driven
I was
here.
driven here, yes.
Okay.
All the way from Philly, in torrential downpours.
Why do they always say that? All the way from Philly?
It's a couple hours. It's about 3 hours.
hours,
And it was
and the
pouring
weather
today, so
was
it might have been long.
crazy.
It might have been further.
It was a minute.
It might have been, how long did it take you here?
A couple hours, about 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, going interstate, well, 3 different states.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pull it back a little bit. So, anyways, right? So, people who don't know who Nia is, please introduce yourself to the people and let them know who you are.
My name is Nia. I also go by the Legacy Builder, and I'm a real estate investor.
Okay.
I've been investing in real estate for over 25 years. Purchased my first real estate property when I was 22 with my income tax check.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's amazing. 22, you purchased your income tax? How much was they giving out back then?
They was giving out a little bag.
Okay, got you.
I had a $7,000 return, and I used my $7,000 return to purchase a property from the auction in Philly.
That's amazing.
That's interesting you said that. So A lot of people don't really think you could probably do that with $7,000. Break that down.
Honestly, you could probably do it a lot cheaper. It really depends on the area that you live in, the specific, like for an example, we did a tax lien. So the property was delinquent on taxes, so there are also foreclosure liens. Sometimes you can even buy a piece of land for like $500 from the auction. So it really depends on the asset that you're acquiring and the area that it's in. So yeah, it's possible for sure.
Oh,
so when you buying this property from the auction, what's the next step? What did you do? Break down your process.
So our process then would definitely not be our process now.
Right.
So we purchased the property, $7,000, and then we didn't have any money to do anything to fix it up. Mm-hmm. So, it was sweat equity. We were grinding. We were still working our 9-to-5s. And so we were leveraging the money that we made on our 9-to-5s to actually fix the property up. And that was way before OPM was a thing, before OPM was all sexy. Like everybody now knows how to access OPM, right? And so we didn't have that at the time. So it took us time. And we were in there doing the work ourselves. Everything that I wouldn't do now is what we were doing then. We didn't have a construction crew that we could, rely on. And, we were doing everything from the muscle and out of our pocket.
So you was kicking down walls and and putting up doors and all that.
Like the Equalizer? That was probably her back then.
Yeah.
She was definitely kicking down them doors like
for
the
sure,
Equalizer.
For sure. I'm not even gonna lie, that is literally our story. We used to pick our kids up from school and we would be in the property. So my husband would be working during the day, and at night we would be in there painting or doing whatever needed to be done. And we made it work and got it together and got a tenant in there. And then once we had our first tenant and people started literally paying us to live in our place, the light bulb went off. And so we did it again. And we just continued to wash and repeat the process. But over time, we started realizing how to leverage the equity in our other properties to buy more properties. And we just rinsed and repeated the process until, now we own a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio.
And this is in the city of Philadelphia?
Yep.
That's amazing. So you guys have been doing great work. Obviously, we got to break something down. You said OPM. I know you're watching the Millionaire Essentials podcast. We've talked about this a lot. But OPM is other people's money, in case you're new to the podcast, right? So
can I add a little flavor to that?
Oh, you can absolutely add a little flavor.
So OPM, yes, is other people's money. And what we've done is now in our community, we have tagged OPM as our people's money because group economics is so important. I really I see a lot of people buying single family homes or maybe a duplex or a triplex or whatever. But if we were to leverage our people's money and put our money collectively together, we could actually buy bigger acquisitions and really take this whole real estate thing to the moon.
That's amazing. And when you say, right, our people's money, and obviously getting from just doing the other people's money, our people's money, the group economics, right? I think you should break that down, right? Because to somebody that's new listening to you, what does group economics mean, and what does bigger assets mean, right?
So I feel like when we really started to scale our business, we scaled our real estate business when we started to exercise strategic partnership, right? The light bulb for us went off too. So I have a son and a daughter who are also in business with us, right? So they both invest with us.
That's amazing.
So think about this. If my husband's credit is where it needs to be and he can access $250,000 in credit business funding, my credit is worthy. So now I have $250,000. My son and my daughter's credit is in position. So now each of them have $250,000 between the four of us collectively as a group. Our economics are $1 million. Right. And so often people are so busy attempting this whole real estate game by themselves, and they try to do it alone. And you can do it alone, but if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, if you want to go bigger, you got to go with other people.
That's amazing.
So if somebody's first getting into real estate, what is the strategy? Because I know you teach many different things. Should they start wholesaling? Should they buy a multifamily? Should they buy a single family? Should they hold? Should they flip? Like, I just started real estate. What is my strategy?
So first of all, I would never recommend anybody to do single family, right?
Okay.
And the reason I wouldn't recommend single family is because if your tenant don't pay their rent once, you in a bad spot. Right. And so I would always recommend you doing multifamily because you have that income coming in from other tenants that can kind of help offset your mortgage if you happen to have a mortgage, right? But the reason why the reason why we're teaching individuals how to invest in virtual real estate and wholesaling is because it's the lowest barrier of entry, right? It's the easiest way to get your foot in the real estate game because you're not really spending a lot of money out of your pocket, right? Last month I did a transaction. I got the deal under contract. I assigned the contract to an investor. I made $25,000 and not a dime of that money came out of my pocket. Instead, the investor paid the down payment. They paid the earnest money deposit, and I just made the money as the middle person, right? Now, wholesaling is not going to make you rich.
Right.
Nobody is going to become wealthy from wholesaling.
But there's people that have, but
it is.
It's an anomaly in a sense.
Well, here's the thing. Let me rephrase that because you can become wealthy if you're wholesaling real estate, but you have to have a system. And that system has to be ironclad, meaning you have to have automations, you have to have,
sales team.
You have to invest a lot of money into building the business.
You have to invest in the business. And a lot of people that I help, they come in the door not really with enough money to invest. Do that.
Okay.
So what would be the point in starting wholesaling?
So for me, I would love to teach individuals how to invest in wholesaling. So you would start wholesaling for leverage, right? So I actually take the assignments that I make, the profit that I make in my assignments, and I leverage that money into other acquisitions. If people tell you, yes, cash flow.
It's cash flow.
And if people tell you you don't need money at all to enter the real estate game, sometimes they capping because even if you go to a hard money lender, you have to have some skin in the game money. They're not going to just lend you money without you coming to the table with 10-20%.
Right. And that's perfect because I want to ask one question before we move on from that, right? You said virtual real estate, right? So for the people that are watching and don't know what you're talking about, what is virtual real estate?
So virtual real estate is, in other words, it's another word for wholesaling, right? And the reason we call it virtual real estate is because I can do the entire transaction from my home. I don't have to leave the house. I don't have to go and actually see the property, or I don't have to show the property. I don't have to do any of those things, and I can still close the transaction virtually from where I am.
That's amazing. So you don't have to do really anything. As long as you get the contract or the house under assignment, right? And then you can just basically assign it to another buyer.
It's an art, though. So I wouldn't say you don't have to do anything, right? Because...
So educate me. Let me know.
Yes. So a wholesale transaction is it's about solving a problem. And a lot of times you're finding individuals who are distressed.
Right.
Their properties are distressed.
Yeah.
And so you're providing a solution to their problem, right? And that takes a skill. And then a lot of times these homeowners, they swear their property is valued more than it really is. And so helping a homeowner to understand the value of the property and where it is currently, that also takes a skill. So I teach negotiation. I teach, there is a psychology behind it. When you're talking to a seller, sometimes you have to take on their energy, their persona, right? If they're a very high energy person and they're very, very nervous, or, you got to kind of come up there with them. But if they cool and laid back like Brandon is over here.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely.
You got to kind of meet them there. And that's all science.
So basically it's like the art of negotiation and sales mostly, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to wholesaling.
For sure.
So now they start with wholesaling. I make a couple dollars in wholesaling. Like, what's my next move? Should I start to buy?
With my students, I never want them to stay in wholesaling. Like the goal is always to start there, never to finish, right? So it depends. If they want to do fix and flips, I can teach them that because we've done it all. If they want to do fix and holds, right? Which I actually prefer to lead them to fix and holds because cash flow is king. And once you do a fix and flip, of course you are gonna have to face capital gains taxes, and so fix and hold is where it is. Gotcha.
That's amazing. So you yourself right now, right? You're obviously wholesaling, right? How do you feel? And this is for the people that are watching that feel like, hey, I've been in wholesaling, but I'm not making enough money yet, right?
Because they haven't met the legacy builder. That's the problem.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Exactly. Now that they met you, right, what are some things that they can do to get them to having a 6-figure, 7-figure wholesaling company that can bring that money in to then now buying those bigger assets that you spoke about before?
A lot of people make a lot of mistakes in wholesaling because they're doing it the old antiquated way, right?
Like
they're driving for dollars.
Like he had a at one point you had a wholesaling company, right?
What are you talking about?
You had a wholesale he had a wholesale company before,
about, bro?
and they had antiquated, well. Yeah.
Okay.
Spell antiquated. Hold on. Spell antiquated.
And like you were saying,
what does antiquate mean?
Like you were saying,
he don't even know what you're talking about. He want to call people out.
Let's go.
Break it down for people. So for people like Tevin that don't know what antiquated means.
Okay.
What do you mean? Break that down.
It's old, right? It's outdated. That's what antiquated means.
Outdated.
So
in layman's terms.
So your thing was.
So what is an outdated system?
All right, so let's talk about that. So a lot of people with an older system might drive for dollars, right? They might actually physically go to the properties to do walkthroughs. We don't do any of those things. They may also they may also find properties in their local area just because that's where they are. But we leverage things like AI. Like everybody is leveraging AI, and so we allow AI to teach us where to invest, to show us where to invest based upon data, right? Because data doesn't lie. So AI has the ability to research far faster than I can ever research, right? And so we leverage AI. We also leverage systems and automations. A lot of people back in the day were using spreadsheets and stuff, so you didn't have a CRM. Those are systems that's necessary in order for you to be, successful in this game. We can do drip campaigns, right? We can actually send out mass text blasts to individuals. People are 80% more likely to open up their phone and respond to a text message than they are to respond to an email. Some people don't even open up an email, right?
Yeah.
And so having those other systems in place to target more individuals, that equates to more money.
So for people in 2025 that are driving to Philly 2 hours to meet people to do walkthroughs, that's old school, isn't it?
That sounds like that shots fired.
No, and then when they get there, like you know how these wholesalers are, like they don't even show up, but you're using an antiquated strategy instead of using AI.
I'm whoever's doing that.
Yeah, whoever's doing that.
Whoever's
doing that. Whoever's doing that in 2025. Whoever's doing that in 2025. Go ahead.
I did that to the property that I bought, and I went and saw the property.
Oh, you did that?
So I'm going to just give you a couple of tips, right?
In
case somebody else is doing that, not anybody here.
And it's a property that I'm flipping, but go ahead.
Baby, I get it. So here's something that
all that energy. She's giving you advice, bro.
I'm just letting her know what I was doing. That's all.
Yo, this is hilarious, and I love every bit of it. All right, so listen. So we actually leverage also notaries, like mobile notaries. we put boots on the ground instead of putting our own boots on the ground. So in this case, with somebody who is from New York and they're buying a property in Philadelphia, you could hire a mobile notary to actually go take pictures for you, videos for you, FaceTime with you. There's no reason for you to physically go to a property until it's closed.
Okay.
Even if like you're not experienced, would you suggest that?
Well, it's not your property. So let's break down wholesaling.
What the goal is, if you're actually wholesaling it, you shouldn't. Go ahead.
If you're wholesaling a property, that property, the responsibility of doing the due diligence and actually putting their eyes on the property is the end buyer.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So as the wholesaler, I do have a responsibility to make sure that what the seller tells me is accurate. I can have somebody go by and take pictures and videos, but ultimately the end buyer's responsibility is to do the due diligence on a property that they're buying.
Absolutely. Okay. So with the legacy builder, right? What do you guys go like? What is the end result if I come to the legacy builder? What am I learning?
So you're learning, number one, how to properly structure your business. I had so many students that would come and be a part of my mentorship and they didn't even have an LLC. So they were buying these properties in their personal names. We're not doing that, are we?
Oh, no.
Okay. So they were buying their property in their personal names.
Yeah. She was like, wait, are we doing that?
We're not doing that. But you would be surprised at how many people are getting into wholesaling and they're getting into these contracts with their names. It is still a contract. It is still a legal document. So things can go wrong. You can be sued, and you definitely don't want to be sued in your own personal name, right? And so the first thing that we're teaching people is how not only to get an LLC, but to make sure that it's properly structured, right? Making sure that they have a virtual address, making sure that they have a viable telephone number and a website and so forth. So we're going to be showing them how to do that. In addition to that, we're going to be providing them access to business credit, business funding. Why? Because a lot of individuals come into my mentorship and they cannot afford their systems. And without a system, you can't scale. Right? Without a system, you can't grow. And so we're going to be providing them access to funding so that they can scale their businesses. And then once they start making money in virtual real estate, which can happen in 30 days, especially if they're working, right? We're then going to show them how to leverage that money and how to buy cash flowing businesses, cash flowing assets.
So I want to get a little bit more detail, right? So we can give some education. Like, what systems are you using? How are we finding properties?
Yes, so we use a lot of systems. I use PropStream, Podio. I use, so PropStream, again, is a lead generation, batch leads. And I'm using these lead generation systems because they're not expensive, right? I want to help people who are just coming in 9-to-5ers who are working paycheck to paycheck, right? They need something that's affordable.
What is PropStream? What does it do?
So PropStream is it's a platform, a lead generation tool, right?
And
so
Podio?
What you do, Podio is your CRM. So I'm going to break PropStream down first. So PropStream is simply a database filled with properties, right? You put in a zip code, you put in a county, and it will pull up properties in that area. And you also have the ability to enter filters to pare it down to the specific property of your choice. So if you want to only look at single family, PropStream can do that. If you want to look at multifamily, PropStream can help you filter that down. If you want to target individuals who are tired landlords, PropStream will help you to do that. If you want to target people who are delinquent in their taxes, this system can allow you to look for specifically those individuals, right? Those properties. Then you can also do your skip tracing right from PropStream as well. So skip tracing is actually finding the contact information of the property that you find, right? So PropStream can do all of that. Batch leads is another one that you can do that on. Now, this is what I do. It's a little more sophisticated.
Bring it down.
I use a lead generation company that actually does all of that work for me. Why?
Oh, that's
because
amazing.
Time for me is money, right? I don't have time for it. One of the things that you can't get more of is time, right?
Yes.
So I use a lead generation company. They find the data, they scrub the data, they do the skip tracing, they do the cold calling. I don't cold call. That's another old and antiquated way of doing wholesaling. I also don't cold call either. And so this company, not only do they do all of that work, and then they provide for me qualified leads in my CRM, which is Podio.
So that's why I like to tell people, right? You can't have no time and no money, right? So if you don't have no money, especially when it comes to wholesaling real estate, you better be on those phones cold calling.
Yes.
100, 200 people a day.
At least.
At least, right?
At least, yes.
And then, but if you do have money, say somebody does have a couple investment dollars, or they, they do the strategies we teach them, go out and get, maybe $50,000 credit card. So should they hire a team? Should they go out and hire some cold callers, some closers? Like, somebody does have some money, where should they start?
The very first place that they should start is in the legacy empire. The reason they need to start there is because you need a mentor, right? These strategies, you can either spend a lot of money. They can take your $50,000 and try to do it themselves and lose the $50,000. Or they can take that $50,000 and have somebody who's done this, who's actually doing it every single month, show them the way to do it, right? And then one of the first things that I would show them is getting access to a CRM is so important.
Which was the Podio that you said before.
Podio is the CRM, right? That's a client relationship management tool. So Podio is that CRM, the client relationship management tool, and that is going to allow you to manage your leads. It's going to allow you to manage your KPIs, key performance indicators. So we're not just out here playing wholesaling. Like, this is really a business. And a lot of people use wholesaling as a hustle, quick, let me make this quick. No, it is actually a business. And so our KPIs, our team, they're required to hit certain key performance indicators. So they need to be calling enough people, right? They need to be converting those leads. They need to nurture the leads, because a lot of money is made in a follow-up. Right? A lot of people, you get on the phone, they like, no, they might not be ready to sell that day. But if you don't follow up, and this literally just happened to me not 30 days ago. I had a guy, we were discussing the property. I made him an offer. He wasn't ready at the time. I didn't nurture that lead. And so over time, I called him back. I finally called him back. He had already sold the property. Why? Because I didn't do my due diligence. Yeah.
So having that follow-up system is super important, super key.
It's critical
when it comes to wholesaling.
It's critical, yes. And so I teach people how not to just get on the phone cold calling. I teach people how to actually create a business.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then you also spoke about something after, which you said fix and hold, right?
Yes.
So for the people that don't understand what you're saying, what is fix and hold? Because everybody hears about fix and flip. But what's fix and hold?
Yes. So while fix and flip is you buy the property in whatever condition, you fix it up, you flip it, you sell it, and then you take the money from the sale and do whatever you do with it. But with a fix and hold, you can essentially do the same exact thing. And fix and hold involves you actually holding the property and renting the property out, right? However, you can do the same process. So we recently did a project. We purchased a property for $55,000 with a business credit card. You would be proud, right? We purchased it with a credit card, and then we flipped it with credit, right? So we used credit cards to flip the property. To renovate the property. Yeah. And then after we were done with the renovation, we then did a cash out refi, right? And instead of us selling the property, we were able to pay all of the credit card debt off, and we still walked away with $40,000. No, I think that was $93,000 on that one. Wow. We were able to get $93 of equity out. $93,000 of equity out of the property. And then so now the tenant is there, and the tenant is paying the refi.
That's amazing.
So how do you determine numbers wise what property to flip and what property to hold? Because I run into this with a lot of people. Hey, I want to flip. And I tell them, maybe you should be holding and creating some cash flow. You're not an experienced flipper. You may not have a team. So how do you determine, should I flip in this market or should I hold?
That's a really loaded question. I feel like that has to be a person's preference. Some people don't want to hold because they don't want to be landlords, which I get that. I understand that. But that's what, companies are for. Like they
that's what I'm saying. They probably don't understand how to basically manage a
have
property.
A management
or even
company, yes, that
they
can
probably don't know these
manage
things.
The property for them. Because essentially I think what they're seeing is they want the money back right away.
Exactly.
Which you may not get all of that money back right away, but if you do the numbers right, see, real estate is a numbers game.
Right.
All right, let's get into it. What do you mean by
real
that?
estate is definitely a numbers game. So you have to purchase the property at the right price. And a lot of people buy through emotion, or they're ignorant to, it should always be a certain percentage of the ARV. What is the ARV? The after repair value, right? I teach all of these things in my mentorship too, because it's very important for my end buyer. It's very important even for me to understand what that ARV is before I actually make a deal. right? And so, a person might decide to, do a fix and flip. For me, I just don't see the value in that. I see that there's much more value in holding the property. The property is going to appreciate over time, right? The equity is going to increase on the property, so I can get money back from the cash out refi right away, and I'm getting the monthly cash flow on the property. If you flip a property, you're not getting no cash flow. That's it. It's over. That's it.
So for you to get money for a cash out refi, like you said, what's the percentage you have to buy at? What would you think of the value?
I'm buying as low as I possibly can, but like no more than 60%.
60. Okay, 60% of the actual ARV after repair value.
Yeah, that's where I want to be at, around 60%. Now, I mean, I'm not often trying to make a lot of money on the front end of a deal, so I'm okay going 70%. I would be okay with that as long as I'm getting the cash flow. That's why we have a multi-million-dollar portfolio right now, because the property that I purchased for $7,000 in 19, I can't even remember what the year
19.
was. It was in the 19s. It was
19s.
in the 1900s. Were you born?
I was. He wasn't.
I was born. I was
Were
still born.
you?
Yes.
No, but you gotta say the number
Yeah, I was
after
about
that
to say,
to
yeah,
determine.
yeah.
He was
Determine
born
how old he was.
1990s or 80s?
It was the 1990s.
Okay.
It was like
1990 what?
1998 maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, you was like, I'm in there.
We're in the ball game.
He just made the cut.
So that property that we purchased then for $7,000 is now valued at around $200,000. So
From 7 to 200.
that's what we purchased it at. Yeah, it's called forced appreciation. You get to force the appreciation or the value in the property, and that's what we do every single day.
What does that mean? Force, break that down.
All right, so forced appreciation is like, for an example, let's just say, for an example, you purchase a property in an area. Like in Philly, it's a lot of, rundown areas
Right.
or whatever. You purchased a property in that
A
area,
lot.
and most of the
lot.
he's at you. I feel like
No, I got nothing to do with
That
him.
had nothing to do with me.
Philly got a lot of
Like,
rundown areas.
He just wanted to say that.
he had to get that off his chest. So all right, so you purchased the property in an area where the properties aren't really appraising high, right? And so then what you do is you fix the property up, and you get that value to increase on that property. And then, so now you own that one property. So then I buy another property in the area, right? And then I fix that one up, and I use the property that I just fixed up as my subject property.
Right.
So I get to force the value of what that property is. So if my property appraised for, let's just say, $200,000, right? I get to determine that next property is more than likely gonna appraise for around $200,000. They right down the street or next door to one another.
Gotcha. And so that works in a great way, because, with a lot of people, you have to be able to take that risk on the first property, right? So a lot of times people, they'll get into fix and flipping, and they want to be the person to be that first property when there's a lot of other properties around. They just don't sometimes do their research.
I wouldn't even say a risk. It's just a long-term strategy, and most
It's a
people want
long-term,
more
yes.
faster results instead of the forced appreciation. That's definitely an experienced and long-term strategy.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's I'm a buy the block strategy.
That's
Yes,
exactly
yes.
what that is.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're doing, right? But with that being said, I feel like when people are new to real estate, and that's why I teach wholesaling. Because in my teaching wholesaling, I get an opportunity to also teach other strategies, other techniques, so that people learn, they're educated about what real estate really is.
Right.
They understand appraisals. They understand that, like, I don't even want certain appraisers to come and appraise my property, right? You don't really get to choose that. The bank will choose that. But like, if there's an appraiser who doesn't really know my neighborhood or doesn't know the area that I'm working in, that can be detrimental to me.
Yes.
Right? Because they're gonna provide for me a load. Yes. And I don't want that.
So
Hold up, I got a question before we move on, right?
don't do that. Don't try to just cut me off, bro.
My
No.
So
I like how you did that.
So
though.
question.
Hilarious.
So question.
Ask
right?
me if you got a question.
Hard money lending, right? And
Talk about it.
and before you were speaking about using your credit card to purchase the property.
Yeah.
Then you talked about using the credit card to fix the property up.
I did that.
Right? In hard money lending, right, obviously you're putting money down to buy the property, but now when it comes to actually flipping the property, what is that process like for people that don't know, right? Because a lot of people, they just assume, hey, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this 10 or 20% or 5, whatever the percentage is for the down payment, and they're going to give me all the money for the construction
is not
because
happening.
it's 100% rehab. So break it down for the people that don't know or don't understand what that is.
I like it. So with a hard money loan or lender, as you know, you have to have skin in the game. And a lot of people think that you can get a hard money deal and not have to actually not actually have to bring any money to the table. So they do typically probably want around 20%, right?
Right.
So with that 20%, though, you have certain things that you need to do before you get a draw, because the way that hard money lenders give you the money is in draws or increments, and they issue these draws based upon progress in the project, right? So typically the first part of the project is going to be your demo. Like they'll help you can purchase the property. The property is purchased, but let's say for an example, the property has to be demoed, right? And demolition is, you take it down to the studs or the bricks or whatever you have to do to kind of clear the property out. That typically comes out of your skin in the game money, right? Then maybe your framing might come out of the skin in the game money, right? And then after you get to that point, now you go to the hard money lender and you say, look, I did the demo, I did the framing, and now they'll issue you money. So you're essentially like paying yourself back. But here's the flex. When you're doing a fix and flip with hard money, you want to make sure, or a fix and hold, either one with hard money, you want to make sure that your budget includes your GC fee. A lot of people leave a lot of money on the table because if the framing costs $10,000 and I tell the hard money lender that the framing costs $10,000, guess how much they're going to give me?
$10,000.
$10,000. But if I tell the hard money lender, if I budget that the framing costs $15,000, but I know I can get the poppies to do it for $10,000. Now they're doing the framing for $10,000, and then that $5,000 I'm going to use for myself as GC.
That's the game right there.
And that's if you're if you're the general contractor.
You should always be a general contractor. And if you're not a GC, you better be GCing your GC.
So, all right. So, hey, that's game right there. So, break that down, right? Because I know that's just a small snippet. You should always be the GC, no matter what.
Even if you don't know real estate?
Even if you don't know real estate?
Well, even if you don't know construction, you mean?
That's okay.
Yeah, construction, yes.
Because that's a different thing. Yeah. So absolutely, you should always be the GC. And I would highly recommend if you are doing fix and flips or fix and holds, and if you're doing them in an abundance, you need to be a GC or at least have that knowledge base. Why? Because a general contractor will murk you. I don't want to say murk. Can we edit that?
I'm about to say, hold up.
I'm sorry.
No, we're not editing that. I mean, you from Philly.
I don't even. Why would I say that? I misrepresented myself.
That was from Philly. That was definitely Philly.
So
a general contractor
will rob you. Will take your money.
They will take advantage of you.
Yes, you could have just said that.
Yes, I should have said that.
So Philly came out. Philly definitely came out.
Because I've been hurt. That was hurt.
That was hurt.
Did you feel that, baby?
Yeah, that was pain.
That was pain. So
that was that
a
built-up trauma.
Contractor, it was trauma, will severely take advantage of you if you are not aware of what things cost. Like, they are essentially in charge of your budget. Nobody else is going to be in charge of my money or my budget, period. So, and also too, what they do is they'll take advantage of timelines, right? And time in fix and flips or fix and holds, time is money, right? And so if they're busy not just doing your job, but they're doing your job and they're taking your deposit from your job to finish another job, like, you have to be sophisticated in this real estate game. If you're not, you can really lose a lot of money.
You have to treat it like a business.
It is a business. It's not a hustle. Period.
And that's what I like about what you teach. You're teaching them how to treat it like a business, and you're teaching the business side of things, not just be just an outside investor and not understand.
Absolutely. You have to be hands-on, right? You have to be in the business. I will not do a fix and flip or a fix and hold in a city that I don't live in or that I can't get to often, because I'm the pull-up queen. Like, I will pull up on my projects constantly because I want to know what's going on. I want to know what my money is doing. I want to make sure that, also too, you asked about like how the draws happen. They happen based upon phases too, right? And so if this is another bar. Don't ever let your contractor get too far ahead of you or get ahead of you at all. I don't pay for work that wasn't done. If a contractor approaches me and they need a deposit before they do any work, that's not my contractor. Right? If you can't gather your guys and get your team on this job site and get this demo done without me paying you money, then that's a huge indication for me that you have financial issues and you can't manage my project.
Got you.
I like that. That's a ball.
You still live in Philly, right?
Yes.
So how do you feel about I know you teach a lot of these strategies and you're trying to help everybody. How do you feel about like out of town investors, like people from like, let's just say New York, New Jersey, that go in your city and start projects that you may even know and don't like tap into your resources, knowing you teach this stuff, and they go in your city and start buying a lot of properties? How do you feel about out of state towners like doing stuff like that?
How should I feel, Tevin?
I mean, I don't know. You should tell me. I'm going to still do it.
I mean, honestly, I feel like it's enough money out here for all of us. Like, I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't care. Anybody can come in my city and get money.
That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, you got to know my city.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
don't
you
just
do.
Come over here in my city and you'll know my city.
With the
right?
GPS, then calling you when they need help and all that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
I ain't never had to do that, but yeah, go ahead.
But the answer is, honestly, there is enough, because my main market is Indiana, y'all. I'm nowhere near Indiana, and I'm getting
never step foot in Indiana.
I have
can tell you
never
that right
been
now.
in Indiana. I've never been there, but
That's
that's my
interesting.
main market. I make so much money in Indiana, so for me,
I've heard
I
that
would be
too.
a hypocrite telling somebody not to invest or not to invest in an area when I don't invest a lot in Philly. I do all of my fix and flips there, fix and holds, but my wholesaling is done everywhere else.
So that's another thing, right? Picking
fire.
your state, your location, where to actually invest. So a lot of people, especially people that live in the big cities, most people that live in the big cities say, hey, it's too expensive out here. I need to find somewhere to invest that makes sense, that I can know the numbers or find a team. How do you suggest people find places to invest?
So I feel like doing research, market research, is very, very critical. It's important. Paying attention to the news, understanding what's happening in certain cities, following gentrification. Like, those things are happening everywhere. And so you don't want to just plant your flag anywhere. You don't want to just invest anywhere just for the sake of investing. Like, oh, we in New York, we going to invest in New York. Nah. Right. So you want to make sure that you're investing in a place where sellers are motivated to sell and where buyers are buying, because it makes no sense for you to get a deal under contract and you can't do anything with it. You can't move it. Right. That makes absolutely no sense for you. So you have to pay attention to the market and having a proper squad. Like, I'm also a licensed realtor right, in my city. So I know things that a lot of people just don't know. But if you're not a realtor, you need to make sure you got a realtor on your team, on your squad, somebody that can help you understand comps, somebody that can help you understand fluctuations in the market. If you don't have that knowledge base, you need to make sure that there's a person on your team that does. And I teach that in my mentorship.
And that's amazing, because you said team, right? And
Yes.
obviously we're building a business, but you said you have a team, right? Nobody can go far without having that team, right? So your team now is the real, you're a real estate agent, but for a person that's not,
Let me
the
break
team
that
is the real
down.
estate
Yeah,
agent.
but what's the team you got to have to be
You
successful?
have to, so here's your team for success. You have to have, like I said, a realtor or somebody in that field. You also want to make sure that you have an acquisitions manager, right? An acquisitions person is going to be the one going out, making the calls and negotiating the deals. You need a lead manager, somebody who is in charge of finding the actual leads for you. Then you want to make sure you have somebody on your marketing team, somebody that can actually market the deals for you or find investors, find buyers. And so that marketing manager is making relationships and building relationships with investors. Also need to have a VA. You got to make sure you have a VA on your team. You want to make sure you also have a good real estate attorney, because it's not about if you get sued. It's about when. So you need to make sure that your ducks are in a row. You also want to make sure that real estate attorney is making sure that your contracts are, ironclad, that they are protecting you, right, as the investor. And so, like, my team is expansive.
Title company.
That's amazing.
Title company is also a person that's definitely on your team. And I've built such great relationships with my title companies. You know, I'm bringing them deals, of course, but they're making sure that that this property isn't going to come back and bite me later on. So they're making sure that the liens are clear. So they definitely have to be on your team.
About expediters. How you feel about expediters?
Yeah, expediters. We just started working with an expediter recently. And that was such a great experience, because, like I said, we're so used to doing everything on our own and everything from the muscle. And now, for us, we have to figure out a way to maximize our time. And those expediters, baby, because it's like they've already done it all. They already have the connections. And so they get in and out, in record time.
And even getting like close to people downtown in City Hall, especially depending on what city you're in, especially if you're in a small city. If you're in a
real
small
estate.
town, getting close to people in City Hall, downtown, like New York, they probably still forget about you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in like smaller cities, knowing like City Hall and downtown, they like get a lot of things passed
They
a lot
get a
faster.
lot
right?
of
Real estate is a
things
lot of
done.
politics.
It
Real estate is
is.
a lot of politics, whether it's fix and flip, whether it's new construction, whatever it is.
It
it's
is
a lot
political.
Of
Come on. And that's one of the things, and I'm sure you've probably faced, I don't know if you have faced a little bit of this, but in my city, they will hold you up with permits for forever. Like we're doing right now, we're doing a multifamily. This is another strategy that I'm going to be teaching my students as well. So we're going to be doing a multifamily, but we're going to be renting out to nurses, visiting nurses. The property is near the University of Pennsylvania. And so we're going to be doing co-living spaces, right? So there's, common areas, but then each person has their own room, own bath, and so forth. So with that being said, our permits were taking forever, right? And just like you said, hiring that expediter, they are able to get those permits through so much faster. You might spend a little bit of money on them, but it's money well spent.
Yeah, because it comes right back.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about it.
Because again, time is money. If I'm waiting on permits for 3 months and I have a hard money lender that's charging me interest, right? So I'm paying more in interest by trying to save a couple of dollars, right?
Anyway,
It wasn't on me.
It's okay. We're going to have to edit.
we edit out. It don't matter. They just horrible.
It's horrible. You play too much.
Yeah. But what do you think the fastest way to become rich in real estate is?
The fastest way I would think is that's a I don't
That's
know.
a hard
That's
question.
a hard question.
Especially nowadays. I feel like there's a lot of different ways because I feel like we're introduced to so much because of social media, right? The traveling nurses, like you mentioned, group homes now, right?
Yes.
Shared living. It's so much different options. Fix and flip, new construction.
There's
Those are
so
always
many
there.
options.
But there's more new options added every day because people are just figuring out ways to do things differently, right? So I feel like maybe
And that's why I asked the professional. I asked
Oh
him.
my goodness, you
Naya,
are hilarious.
what do you think the fastest way to become rich in real estate is?
I feel like a model that will allow you to make cash flow without needing a lot of time, without having tenants. My mentor, he invests in self-storage facilities, right? It's still a form of real estate. Right? It's still a form of where you still own
Commercial.
the
That's
property.
commercial real estate, basically.
And that is also an element that we're introducing to our students as well. Because like I said to you, wholesaling is just the beginning. That's just a stepping stone. But not only do I teach them how to invest in residential real estate, but we're also teaching them how to invest in commercial real estate. Whereas if I do my residential average on an assignment is about $25,000-$30,000. I don't go less than $30,000. I don't go less than like $20,000, right? $30,000 is the average. But with a commercial deal, I'm getting at least $100,000. So I would say the fastest way to make money in virtual real estate is probably to bypass residential and go right to the commercial bag.
I've been telling this dude this.
Have you been telling him
See, we think
that?
opposite. I like you could get money all types of ways in real estate, right?
Absolutely.
But then when we start talking about, I'm always thinking like just a bigger picture. He likes to do stuff he's comfortable with. So I tell him like, yo,
risk taker.
It's not necessarily that.
I'm still talking though.
I like to
So
learn.
I
like to learn more.
Oh, and then execute.
Yes, because if I've never done it, then let me get to the place where I can learn and get there so that I can do it.
I want to say
Because
that
I am kind of hands on.
Because
Because I
people
like to pull
assume-
up the same way like you do.
You pull up.
Yeah, I pull up.
I like
pull
that.
up.
Well, see, so here's the thing. Residential evaluation is completely different than a commercial evaluation.
Correct.
It's like apples and oranges. And so if you approach a commercial deal that way, you could definitely lose. You're really not going to get far because you have to understand NOIs. You have to understand your cap rates. You have to understand that terminology. And if you don't, and you attempt to do it like you would do residential, you really can't go far. So I commend you for wanting to learn more.
Yeah,
When you signing up for my mentorship.
Exactly.
I'm the legacy
da-
boot
da-
camp.
da- da- da-
The boot camp that's coming up, right?
Yeah, check it out.
So when's the boot camp?
When's the boot camp?
Yes.
And what is the boot camp?
All right, so the legacy.
Because you've been hold up, you've been breaking down a lot You've been doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
The explanations are great. The information that you're giving is great. Now, just let the people know what the boot camp is. What's the name? Break it all down.
I'm excited about
Yes,
the
yes.
Legacy and Leverage Boot Camp. It is coming up here in a couple of weeks. And what we're doing is we are essentially showing people how to create a business in a box when it relates to real estate, right? So I'm going to be teaching.
I never heard that before. That's amazing.
Yeah. Because what happened was people were coming in just fractured. Like they either had an LLC and really didn't know how to wholesale, or they didn't know how to wholesale and they had an LLC and didn't know what to do with it. And so what we're doing is we're going to put together a program that's not only going to show individuals how to set up their businesses, but we're going to teach them wholesaling from a residential and commercial standpoint. And then we're going to show them what to do with the profit once they make it. So many people make they quick $25,000 and it is up, right? They don't really know what to do with that. So that's where leverage comes in. We're going to show them how to leverage that bag and how to actually make more money from the money that they make.
There we go. I like that.
That's amazing. And so this boot camp's coming up, right?
5 days. 5 days. We got
So what else are they going to be learning?
So they're going to be learning, like I said, business structure. They're going to be learning business credit, right? How to.
They're going to be learning business credit?
They're going to be learning business credit.
You got a call? Huh? Oh, you must be on it.
Yes.
Are you on it? I know I'm not on it.
Come on, man.
All right, they're going to talk about business credit. All right, go ahead. What else?
They're going to be learning business credit, business funding, how to get to the bag.
Oh, business credit and business funding.
So that they can, this is funny, so that they're able to afford their systems, their automations, their CRMs.
Okay.
And then we're going to be breaking down everything wholesaling to them, everything real estate. And then we're also having a component where they're going to learn how to buy a cash flowing business.
That's dope. That's dope.
Because we did that. We recently, one thing about me is I'm not going to teach somebody something that I'm not doing. I have a huge problem with that.
You know what? That sounds you just said something that's so important to me. He's been telling me I should buy big multi.
No.
But he's never done it. Yo, you
So
know what's crazy?
Naya.
You have to start from somewhere.
Exactly.
Somebody told me to do it before I ever did it.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
That's
to
all
him.
I'm
He's
saying.
just encouraging
But
you.
he still ain't do it yet.
Thank you.
He still ain't
All
doing
right,
it.
so
Thank you.
here's
He
the
been talking about
Thank
it for
you.
3 years.
Naya.
He ain't do it yet.
No, I haven't talked about it.
That's because he didn't know me.
Exactly.
I keep
That's
trying
number
to
one.
tell y'all that. It's back to the basics.
That's
So
number
here's
one.
the thing. So
Go ahead,
last
Naya.
year,
My fault. I'm sorry.
that's okay. Last year, I started learning about business acquisitions, and I've always wanted. I don't want to take the credit from Ern. Ern always wanted a laundromat, right? When he was younger, in his neighborhood, the guy who owned the laundromat also owned a couple properties. They also owned a liquor store. They also had this guy was a businessman, and that always made Ern want to have a laundromat himself.
Who's Ern? You gotta
That's
break
my
that.
husband.
You gotta say that.
They
Like,
know Ern. Ern knows.
Ern could be. I don't know who Ern.
They ain't know me without him.
Okay, say that. That's we gotta know that.
Ern is my husband. He's always wanted. He's always wanted a laundromat, right?
Okay.
And so we started that. Our first business acquisition, we wanted it to be a laundromat, and so we're searching for laundromats. But in every type of business, if the numbers don't work, they just don't work. They just don't work, right?
Yep.
And so for the laundromats that we were looking for close to us, the numbers just didn't work. So we found a dry cleaning business. So we George and Wheezy up in this dipper now.
Okay.
So we found a dry cleaner business. The numbers made great sense. The owner was older. He was ready to retire. He darn near gave us this business, right? Because he just did not want to do it anymore. And he was working in the business, right? And so we knew going into this that we were not buying another job. We were not going to buy employment. We were instead going to buy a already existing business that was already functioning, right? And so that's what we did. So we purchased our first business. And just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean you can't do it. You just need the information and the knowledge. And once you get that knowledge, you can do it.
You know what's crazy? I know somebody pretty close to me who's looking for a laundromat who probably needs your help.
Wow.
We talk about it pretty often.
Is it
probably
this
needs
guy?
your help. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tev.
I've definitely had this
Tev.
conversation.
Have you tapped into a boot camp?
I have never heard you say that.
We were just speaking about it last night, as a matter of fact.
Not until recently. I'm talking about as long as we've known each other, you never told me this.
He's never tapped into you as a resource, has
about
he?
a week ago.
No, I definitely do tap into Nia as a resource.
Okay.
She sends me a bunch of properties.
Okay.
I feel like I tap into you because
so it's not like
ever send me properties.
So it's not a give and take. It's just a take. It's just a take.
I don't really get properties.
So it's just a take.
It's only whatever the wholesale sends me.
Okay.
So it's
you
more.
don't get nothing I send you though.
No. Oh, see, hold up.
Okay, I was just.
So this is like a one-way street.
No,
it's not a two-way. It's not
because we've changed that.
Here.
We've changed that, and we're
How
moving
did this
forward.
whole podcast switch to this?
Switch.
This
from the
is
sounds of it.
crazy.
Sounds like you're mentoring him already.
No. We mentor each other, and
Yeah,
I feel like
Okay.
I feel like in this and that's what I want to tell you guys too. I appreciate really what you guys are doing because you're the information and the content that you guys are bringing out to the masses. I learn from it every single day, and I'm hoping that somebody will learn from whatever it is that I'm teaching. But Tev, if you want a laundromat, hit me up. I'll make sure I can help.
Actually,
you
I want a car wash.
evaluate it.
I don't want a laundromat.
Car wash is great too.
Car wash I want.
That's cool too.
That's on my for next year for 2026. That's on my list to purchase.
So where are you looking to buy the businesses?
Oh, don't worry, we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it. All right, cool.
Because this turned into a whole business mind.
So and you know why? Because what people don't realize, the same strategies from real estate goes into business mind. Almost the same exact strategies. It's just that just different types of numbers, right?
Yep.
It's different types
different
of
type of
numbers.
negotiations,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like the negotiations are also similar because for our business, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to try to get seller financing, right? So you want to also try to do seller financing when you're buying a large apartment building. You want to make sure that the financial risk is as least as possible on you, right? So when buying a business, you want to try to have that owner be, finance the deal for you. And so it's similar. A lot of similarities.
How many properties have you wholesaled?
Ooh. I should probably count. I gotta check my KPI.
How much money have you made from wholesaling?
Ooh, that's a good one.
There we go.
I wish I was better with tracking those things. I'm not, but I can. Okay, in a year, I probably make $500,000 in wholesaling.
Oh, that's
assignments.
That's nice.
$500,000 in
That's
wholesaling
nice.
assignments. And if you break that down, like I said, my average deal is about $30,000.
Right, and that's
Your average deal. Hold on, I want to skip
deal
over
is
that.
30, and I got
That's a lot for
She said it
wholesaling.
before.
I have
She said it before.
receipt.
In Indiana, or you talking about?
In Indiana, I just did one in South Bend. I made $30,000 in South Bend, Indiana. No, you know what it is? You're not in the wrong. You might be in the wrong market. I think y'all in the wrong market. That's the first thing.
Okay.
But the second thing is, you have to. Real estate is a numbers game. If you don't go into the deal already understanding exit strategies, right, and knowing what your buyer wants. Here's the thing: a lot of people approach wholesaling and they start by finding the seller, right? They go. Is that what you do? Is that what you do? You find the seller and you
Teach us.
Okay. So a lot of
teach us.
people, they go into the deal, they find the seller, they get their motivated seller, they get the deal under contract. Boom. The next thing that they do is now they're trying to find an end buyer. Well, that's the wrong way to do it, right? You have to reverse that process. So I build relationships with my investors first. I find my buyers first, and then my buyers tell me exactly what it is that they want. And then I just go shopping. All girls like to go shopping. And then I go shop for exactly what they want. And I make sure that the deals that I find are deals that can get me what I'm looking for as well. I want to make sure that my end buyer, is favorable, but I also want to make sure that I'm making what I want to make on the deal as well.
What is your average hold time on a wholesale deal?
Well, if you do it with the strategy
That
that
you're
I'm
just-
telling
yes.
you, you're not really holding it because
you have the
you
buyers
already have
already.
your buyer.
And
But-
that's what I wanted you to break down, because a lot of people, when they get into wholesale, and they be like, "Oh, I held the property for 30
days, and then
60 days,
the
I ain't get
contract
nobody."
lost the
Have nobody.
contract.
But
yeah.
your strategies that you have is perfect for somebody that can come into wholesaling, because they're not just looking for the property, they're looking for that buyer.
I
like you
teach
just
them
said.
how to build relationships with investors. I teach them how to find investors. I teach them hedge funds are major. That's how I'm able to do so much, is because, let's say for an example, like hedge funds are looking for properties. They want you to bring them properties. And so I teach them first how to find their exit strategy, how to find that end buyer, right? And then once they find the end buyers and they build their buyer's box, a buyer's book, right? That buyer's book is going to have a whole list of buyers in specific areas and specific regions with the buyer's buying specifications. Maybe you have a buyer that only wants duplexes, right? right? So now I know I'm going to look for duplexes just for this particular buyer. No, they know not to bring me no single family, right? So as an investor, a wholesaler would know not to bring me single family deals because I've told them what my buy box is.
So do you go over different strategies to do in different markets? Because, for example, right, once this administration got into office, all the stock guys was laughing at the real estate guys, right? They said market went down, stock guys is making a whole bunch of money,
A lot.
interest rates went up, now interest rates is going back down. So is this like a time to buy? Is it a certain time of year, fall, spring, summer, winter?
There is a buying market, a buyer's market, like when it's more favorable for a buyer, and then there's a seller's market when it's more favorable for a seller, and that is always going to be the case. You're never gonna be able to escape that. So you have to understand how to ride the trends and ride the waves, right? And so sometimes it is a good thing for you to switch out of a certain market if things are kind of going crazy in the market. So it's just a matter of understanding the market and strategizing. And like I said, having that realtor and having that team in place that can help you to know where to go and where to be is very critical. I use chat too. Like
AI.
And I was just about to ask, how do you implement AI inside of your business right now? Because I know you mentioned it earlier, but like especially in your wholesaling business, how do you implement AI right now?
AI is crazy. First of all, AI can make phone calls for you. AI can follow up on calls. AI can send out messages. They can respond to text messages. What AI does is it essentially duplicates you. And if you ever want to scale, if you want to make more money than you're already making, you have to duplicate yourself because it's only but so many hours in a day and it's only but so much that you as one person can do. And so AI allows us to, become multiple people. In addition to that, we use AI because it has such an extensive research capability. It used to take me months to research a market. It used to take...
God's unprofessional here,
It's
man.
okay.
It's unprofessional.
It's all right.
Really unprofessional.
All right. So it used to take me months to do research, right, on a particular market, to understand the buying trends, the sellers, like the neighborhoods and all of that, right? And then once I implemented AI to my business, AI does it in minutes, right? And so that enables me to sell more deals, get more deals under contract, thus meaning more money.
That's amazing. So so all of the strategies that you've basically said throughout this whole entire podcast, breaking things down, this is all going to be in a boot camp?
It's all going to be in a boot
In
camp.
detail.
Ooh.
In detail. We breaking it down. When I tell you, we have been preparing for this for a long time, and a lot of trial and error. I'm not the type of person that just wants to get somebody's money and then just send them to a course. I'm hands-on. I'm literally role playing with people. I'm on the phone with them. I'm calling sellers with them. I'm in the trenches with my people. And so I'm so excited about just holding, because some people just need a little bit of hand holding and then they can fly, because I know I was the type of person that needed that. A lot of people will get you into a mentorship. They throw a course at you and then they like, here, run the play. Right? That wasn't me. Like, I needed a little bit more. I needed somebody that can be there in the Telegram or pick up the phone and help me out. Like, oh my God, I got a seller on the phone and they're ready to sell. Like, what do I do? And so, we pride ourselves with being extremely hands-on with our people.
That's amazing.
How much money do I need to invest to make my first $10,000 in wholesaling, would you say?
All right. People are
Profit.
making money in wholesaling with $0. And I know that sounds like crazy. Like, is that really happening? But it could be. You could use your local municipalities.
Is that realistic?
It's realistic. Like, you could close a deal. It's realistic, but it's not advisable, right? Because you could do it so much faster, right? And you can make so many more deals if you actually you got to invest in yourself at the end of the day. Now, I get it. Some people may not have it to invest, right? And so I don't want to discourage somebody and say, you know what? No, without $1,000, you can't do it, right? Because you can use the list from your local municipalities. You can pick up your own phone call and your own phone and make the cold calling. You can also do your own, find a contract online, right? The contract might be jacked up, right? But you can find your own contract online. You can make the deal happen. Send the deal to the title company. The end buyer is going to pay the down payment. So you really could do it without any money out of your pocket,
But
right?
having a mentor
But having a mentor and also somebody that's going to show you systems that's going to help you get to the bag faster is what I would recommend to people. So let's say, for an example, let's say you had $1,000. If you had $1,000, what I would tell you to do, like, first get PropStream. Get that lead generation.
How much is that?
$97 a month.
Okay.
Batch leads might be $120 a month, and batch leads is going to come with telephone numbers, right? So you won't have to do the skip tracing. If you do PropStream, they'll give you the properties, but you still have to skip trace the properties. Like skip tracing, like I said, is finding the contact information, right? So maybe you spend another $200 out of that $1,000 when you're skip tracing your marketing, right? Then after that, get you a CRM. Podio is $24 a month, but you might experience some you setup costs, right, for Podio, right? So now you're at $24 a month. And then if you wanted to take the rest of that budget and invest it in my guys who do the lead generation, they're going to be sending you actual, qualified leads. You could take that same hot leads, right? You could take that same $1,000 and I could guarantee you within 30 days, you could close your first deal.
You said the word guarantee.
Yeah, I was about
don't
to
say
say
the G word.
That
G
G
word.
word.
Get on here and say that G word.
You got to have a mentor. And
Two
you gotta
G words I don't like
work.
to say. God and guarantee out
God
loud.
and guarantee you'll do those. Well, yeah, I'm going to guarantee it.
Okay.
Oh, so
Okay, look in the camera. Look in the camera. when you
Yeah,
say
stay
that.
right there.
Like that.
Right there. That's it right there.
Talk to they people.
Right there.
No, but you have to do the work though. That's one of the things I feel like a lot of people, because the reason that I can guarantee it is because I give everything. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not holding anything back. All of my contracts I provide to my students. All of my negotiating techniques I provide to my students. Like, so I give them everything. If you go to work, in 30 days you closing a deal. If you don't, if you like, oh, I really don't have time to make calls. I really can't.
The reason why people won't say the guarantee because you can't determine whether somebody's going to want to do the hard work.
Well, that's what
I like the word guarantee in this sense, right? Because I believe everything is a formula, even business. If you do these things,
yes,
I like to say you will guarantee make money because people don't understand business is a formula. Yeah, the same formula that they was using in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, it'll work today. It's just about, like she said, following and doing the work.
And the blueprint, you have to have the blueprint. Here's the thing, one of the things I noticed as well, a lot of my mentees come in and their mindsets are jacked up. And so we spend a lot of time before we even start getting into the game. Before I teach one thing, real estate, they got to get their mindset together. What does your day look like? What time are you waking up in the morning? What time are you working out? What are you eating? Like, all of these things matter. And so if I can, this is the way to wealth. The way to wealth is becoming the person that is a wealthy person. It's not really doing the work itself. It's becoming that person. And that's what we spend a lot of time doing, like helping people. Like we have something called midday mindset, right? So we get on a phone with about an hour with the folks and we help them really like break through barriers. A lot of people are in their own way. And so we spend a lot of time on mindset. And once you do those things and they follow the blueprint, I'm gonna use the G word. Like, how can you lose with that?
So, and I would say this too, right? The person that, like Brandon said, that if they could start, and like you said, they could start at $0 and make 10,000. They might make that 10,000 in 12 months. But if they go with a mentor, then that 10,000 can be made way faster. It can be accelerated.
30 days,
30 days, maybe even less.
I made so many mistakes,
right,
over time, that I've compiled. I probably got a little mistake journal so that you don't make them. For an example, like giving a lot of money to contractors before they did 1 ounce of work. That was a mistake that I made.
Most people do.
Yeah, because I didn't know any better. And now I understand. No contractor is getting ahead of me, period. Right? I don't pay for work that's not done.
Because there's even people that come to us for funding. They say, I want to do my first flip. And this is why I always tell people that come to us. I usually suggest if you have a cash flow problem, don't start flipping.
Right.
Because if you can't make money in 30 days, a flip is probably the worst thing. You tying your money up for 5, 6, 7 months, hoping for a return. And that return probably going to go to all the bills you owe anyway. And now you ain't solve your cash flow problem. Ooh. So that's why I like to tell people, like, you have to solve a cash flow problem.
I love that.
And that's going to you to wholesale. That's solving the cash flow problem.
It really is.
Because that's monthly income that you're making, weekly to monthly income.
And if you have enough deals stacked up, right? Yeah. And like I said, this whole, real estate is a numbers game. If you call 1,000 people a day, you mentioned that 200-300 people a day somebody was calling, right? Mm-hmm. No, our KPIs, our people got to be calling 1,000 people a day, period. No less than that, right?
So now you got to get $1,
They
right?
got to be
you
on
should
that
get
dollar.
$1.
They on that dollar, right? And so with that being said, now we have more qualified people who are saying that they're interested because we're reaching out to more people. People coming in and they trying to call 200. It's hard to call 200 people a day with the phone. And so just learning these strategies in the blueprint is definitely going to help. But let's go back to that whole cash flow piece. That's why I teach wholesaling. Because a lot of people get business credit. They don't know what to do with the credit. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't believe how many people get that bag and they fumble the bag. And now they're in a much worse situation than they were before they ever got the business funding in the first place. Mm-hmm. When I teach wholesaling, none of that money is coming out of their pocket, and they don't owe that money to anybody. So if they fumble it on a real estate transaction, they just fumble something that they made as a middleman. They're not they're not fumbling something that they still have to make a payment on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's dope. That's super dope. Listen, you shared a lot of great information.
Thank you.
This podcast has been amazing. For sure, let the people know.
Wait. You got to ask her.
Yes.
Come on, bro.
Come on, get it right.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what you would do with
that.
No,
exactly. I'm finally. See, you recognize it, right? No, you should have said that. It's obvious. It's just so obvious.
So the question that Brandon usually asks is, what do you feel like is the essentials to becoming a millionaire?
I shared it already. But
double down.
No, that's not the answer. I give us 5 essentials. You think
5 essentials for me, number 1 is being locked in with God. Without God, nothing is possible. Wealth is a spiritual thing. Mm-hmm. And so number 1 would be that. Number 2 is studying your craft, right? I'm a student of my craft. Even right now, today in 2025, even though I've been investing for a very long time, I still have mentorship. I'm still learning, right? The number 3 is become obsessed, right? Wealth building has to be an obsession. Every day you wake up in the morning, you have to have your mind on your money and your money on your mind. I would have trouble from dropping that bar, but I'm just saying, you really have to become obsessed, right? And then, I also shared this, making sure that your business is a business and not a side hustle. So you have to be very intentional about making sure that, you have your ducks in a row and, paying your taxes. So many people are out here just trying to make money and they're not really set up as a proper business. What? Why are you laughing?
I told you it was going to happen.
It did. And it just he moved it like a ninja.
I told you.
Oh, what's that? What was that part?
I told you.
What was the quick flip, baby? Can you do that too?
I don't know what he was gonna do.
I don't know.
I said it to you before.
Hilarious.
But yeah.
And then 5. The 5th thing is forget humility. You gotta know you are that person. I feel like people got humility messed up over time. Now, I'm not a boastful person. I don't brag, and I'm not arrogant, because arrogant is different. But sometimes people are so humble that they don't take chances. Okay. Right? That they don't even believe in themselves because they're so busy trying to play small and be small. You cannot make it to wealth if you don't believe in you. So you have to have belief.
Gotcha. That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's amazing. Yes.
But let them know, give a breakdown where they can find you.
Guys, make sure you register for the Legacy and Leverage Boot Camp. I'm so excited. I can't wait for you guys to jump in this challenge. We are dropping so many gems in the challenge. I'm doing a weekly webinar, free webinar. I'm going to be giving out free game leading up to the boot camp. I cannot wait to see you in the building.
That's dope. That's dope. Listen, y'all, make sure. Well, actually, my fault. I'm sorry. I jumped out of turn. Go ahead, my guy.
I like that, man. I like that. Listen, this has been another great episode of the Millionaire Essentials podcast. We had Nia Ball on here, the real estate investor, the real estate professional. Make sure y'all tapping with her to learn how to build your legacy in real estate. I'm Brandon, the provider.
Yes, sir. It's Tevin Facey. And hold up, before you go, make sure you guys click that link below so that we can help you get funded, right? I know you guys know that we help you get access to capital.
Come on.
$50,000 to $250,000.
Click the link.
Make sure y'all click that link below, and also make sure you click the link below for Nia Ball's challenge. Oh, sorry, not challenge.
Boot camp.
Boot camp, because we going to work.
Yes, we
You
going
know,
to
you
work.
know what happens in
Yes.
boot camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes,
So make
ma'am.
sure y'all click that link below. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. And it's another great episode of the Millionaire Essentials
Legacy
podcast.
and
See y'all soon.
Let's go. Peace.
If you're still living paycheck to paycheck, if you are still exchanging your time for money and you still don't have no money, I have the exact thing for you. For less than $4 a day, we are hosting the Legacy and Leverage Boot Camp, where we're gonna be teaching you guys how to make at least $10,000 within 30 to 60 days. I want you to click the link below. Join me for the boot camp. It is gonna change your life. Let's get it.